Okay, guys, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Jaranaru, and welcome back to Capital GPT. And this is the first ever Capital GPT podcast with your boy Mawanda, aka Creative Replay. And basically, today we're gonna talk about Mawanda's journey, his story, his amazing story. And Yeah, I think a bit of background on Mawanda is he started in the dance field, been dancing for a while with him and his sister on YouTube, blew up there, then moved over to real estate space, and then now in the creative space, running a creative production company, and he's doing actually amazing there. I've seen him journey through that. So yeah, anything else that I've missed, Mawanda?
Hey, bro, that's about it. I'm a brother, I'm a son, I'm a husband, I'm
Yeah.
a father. Those are some of the things that I'm really proud of. But yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I think also like seeing Mawanda. I think we've met. We've met at first. I think we've seen each other on socials first. We've seen of each other, and then we've met at Aeon Wolf's. Yeah, like a small event with just a bunch of creatives and influencers and stuff. So we met there, and then we just been in contact ever since. Uh, so yeah,
that's actually such a good reminder. Thank you for reminding me of that. Yeah, I actually was trying to pinpoint where did we actually meet, like physically. And yeah, shout out to A1. I think he's one of the creatives here in KZN, well, in South Africa rather,
yeah,
who's very good at just he's warm and he brings people together. And I think from the time we've met, we've just clicked from there. But thank you for having me on the podcast. Thank you to all your viewers who are joining us. I really hope that they find value in the conversation we have.
yeah, 100%. I think just a quick one for because this is a new podcast, right? So I think for people that are tuning in to know that the point of this podcast is for us to, or for me and whichever guest is on to help inspire the South African youth as there's a lack of opportunity as we think there is because South Africa is the highest unemployment rate, well, amongst the youth in the world. So how can we as South Africans or people that have been through the journey of the side hustles, of being through entrepreneurship, studying, or whatever you're doing at this point, how can we help people that have been that are up and coming? How can we do that? So I think let's start off with Mawanda and his journey and him. I think the first question is like, you started off with dance. You blew up. You're like 200K, 300K, 400K views on YouTube by itself. Uh, how was that? And did you find a way to monetize that? I think that's the question. Did you figure out a way? Because I've seen people that are there now that have the views, especially on TikTok, whatever, but find it difficult to monetize. So especially at that time when you was maybe 8, 7 years ago, did you figure out a way to monetize it? And looking back, do you feel like, I should have done this?
Bro, thank you for that question. Yeah, I think firstly, shout out on the podcast that you're doing. I know that in South Africa we have quite a high unemployment rate, and it's
Yeah,
so good that you're actually taking ownership and initiative to have these conversations so that we move our mindset from doom and gloom of the unemployment rate, but
yeah,
to opportunity. Maybe
exactly.
looking at the fact that if there's such a high unemployment rate, that means there's such an opportunity to solve problems, which means it can only go upwards from here. So
Yeah,
I'm really excited about that. I was speaking to somebody, a South African who got back from America, possibly looking at going back. And I think one of the conversations we had with him is like, bro, with such a big unemployment rate and so many challenges we have here in South Africa, I can definitely tell that entrepreneurship would make such a much bigger difference here than it would internationally or overseas.
yeah,
And we were speaking about how it's important to hang around with people who actually see the opportunity in what may seem like something that goes downhill. But to answer your question, monetizing dance. So monetizing dance for me actually started. I started creating content in 2008.
yeah.
That's when
Oh,
I really started taking dance seriously. I was in high school at that time, and while we were doing that, we started creating content before we knew it was even content. We just wanted to create something where people create a community, and we just wanted people to be a part of what we are doing and for them to get inspired to do what they have to do in whatever sphere they're in. And if it means dance is a way for them to let loose, feel inspired, and have fun, that's all we wanted.
yeah.
But as we were doing that, we realized that at church, I got exposed to a DVD printer that prints
Oh,
multiple DVDs.
God.
I'm like, guys, we could take our camcorder, record our trips, and then go to church, pay them a fee, record a bunch of DVDs, we put them in sleeves and we sold them. So that's the
Okay.
first way in which we actually started monetizing our dancing. The second thing is that we started creating events.
Right.
So we host events at the Shaka Marine World, all over the country, doing workshops, getting people involved, advertising them on Facebook, etc. That's
Yeah.
the second way in which we monetize. I'm talking about, bro, this is before content creation and influencers and all everything we were speaking about was. But I think we just trusted God to say, you know what, God, you gave us this gift. How can we take this forward? Yeah,
Exactly.
so there's that. We started creating merch. We'd literally go to town, go check
Great.
out fabrics, go to a printing shop, and then say, hey, we saw this baseball tee. This is what we're going to create. What colors should we buy? Then they would make samples for us. We'd write what we wanted to write.
Right.
And then because of the digital community that we have built,
Yeah.
everywhere we'd go do events, etc. That's one of our products that we'd have at the time. So I think that's where we really monetized what we
Yeah.
did. And I'm really so proud of us because we monetized it in a space where it was like we didn't know what it was. No one was showing us and no one
Exactly.
knew what it was in South Africa. So for us, it was really just to figure it out. And I think there's something that's just fun about figuring something out.
Yeah.
I don't know why. Just when something seems hard and it's fun, just figuring it out and failing forward, I think, yeah, it was just such a joy to figure that out, man.
That's actually crazy. Because like I'm just thinking as you're speaking that like you've had an entrepreneurship mindset since like high school because you guys have already like, okay, how can we do this? How can we like take DVDs and then take them, record and then sell them? And then again, going creating events because you know there's money in events with ticket sales and stuff, and then merch, which is a big one. And like, how do you feel that like that has impacted your journey now in entrepreneurship? Because I'm sure there's a lot of lessons that you've learned that you've probably implemented amongst your business now. Yeah,
Bro, that's such a good question. I think I was speaking to one of my brothers, Verb.
yeah,
Really proud of him, but we were all in the same crew together. We're
yeah,
talking about how everything we did then, we're actually doing now in our own
yeah,
businesses, and we're actually doing it for clients
yeah,
because it really changed our mindset from the get that, oh, if you really want something to work, firstly create value, and either solve a need or provide for a pleasure.
yeah,
You one of the two. Then when you're doing so, create a community and see how you can onboard people on that. So I've taken that mindset into financial planning. I took it to even when I was doing Huawei, I was doing in-person sales inside a telecommunications store.
yeah,
I still use the same mindset right up to what I'm actually doing now for businesses.
yeah,
I work closely with entrepreneurs, professionals, coaches, speakers, um, to help them build authority online and build a personal brand
mm,
through video. But all of that is just a fruition of what I learned in dance. So
yeah,
it's so beautiful when you see that principles remain no matter what field you apply them in.
okay,
So I'm just using my curiosity from then, together with obviously some knowledge along the lines, and
yeah,
I'm now applying it into what I'm doing now.
yeah. That's actually crazy. Sure. I think the question that I think a lot of people will have, right, is how much money do you guys actually make with that? Like with your concerts, like or your events or your merch sales? Like did you guys actually like kill it or was it like a learning curve where you guys like we just broke even or like yeah,
So how much money did we make, bro? Let me say this: sometimes we made no money, sometimes we made minus money,
exactly.
and then sometimes we'd make enough money where after the event, I'm in grade 10 and let's say we make a 5 grand profit, we take that, put it back as capital, be able to share some, amongst the crew and
Yeah,
yeah, just move forward from there onwards. So we actually did make quite a bit of money. But at the same time, we take it, reinvest it back into the business that we
yeah,
had, and then would use it for expenses. But I think the biggest thing for us and the biggest opportunity was those events were pretty much learning opportunities. we,
yeah,
we just kept on doing it and kept on learning. We're learning how to pitch. We're learning how to invite people. We're learning how to advertise and promote. We're learning how to go to brands and show them that, hey, there's actually value in what we're doing
yeah,
and seeing how they can actually benefit. So I think the biggest wealth factor for us was the knowledge that we got out of what we were
yeah.
doing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I started the last time my parents bought me clothes or provided for me financially when I was in grade eight.
Okay.
Obviously,
So everything.
outside of the financial challenges, etc.,
Yeah.
everything that I learned in what I was doing, literally has been able to sustain, me
Yeah.
till now.
That's crazy. From grade eight. How old are you? Like what? 14, 15. Like just like, you know what? I'm
Grade
gonna
eight, you're like 13, turning 14, I think.
yeah. Yeah. And I think yeah, I think having that mindset and that ambition, I think also is there that helped you push on and be like, oh, like let me push on. Also like sustain myself, but also help my family where I could. And I think there's a lot of people out there. I'll tell you a story. Like there's a guy that reached out to me on my TikTok now recently, 16-year-old kid that's like, listen, I could do anything. Like I just need a job. And the thing is, like, I know there's so many kids out there that has that thing of like, I need a job, I need to help my family, because in the circumstances that we have now, like you said, like there's a lot of downside, but we can look at opportunities, we can look at the upside. But as a 16-year-old kid or someone in high school that wants to help their family, I think firstly, yes, like get your education, but then you also see some of your family members that are like or your family that needs food on the table, which is a very real thing in South Africa. Um, what advice? It's a tough question because even me, I'm like, what advice or how do you think like these kids could? I mean, there's internet now, right? Which is it's a lot easier nowadays to make money. So how do you feel like kids like 16-year-olds or whatever that needs to help their family? How could they help their families or skills they could learn to provide from a young age if they need to?
Yeah. Oh, what a question.
Yeah, it's a tough one.
So yeah, it's a tough one. 16-year-old. I think South Africa is unique in the sense that these things are real. There's a lot of people in high school, but there's no food on the table at home.
Yeah,
And you obviously want to do your best to make sure that you can find opportunities to help and provide, for home.
yeah,
We may watch things online,
mm,
but they won't always fully translate to what South Africa really is. And that
yeah,
is a reality in our country, as beautiful as it is, and as much as I love our country. What advice would I give? Shucks. First advice is learn.
yeah,
Learn as much as you can. I know that we need to put food on the table, and that's a basic need.
yeah,
But I think a part of you doing your best to use the digital library that's available, doing your best to use artificial intelligence,
yeah,
doing your best to just learn new skills and empower yourself in personal development, entrepreneurship,
yeah,
critical thinking. Critical thinking is so important. I think that's step number one. And then step number two, get good grades,
yeah,
as best as you can. And I understand that maybe not all of us are going to be scientists and we might have the best grades, but do your best to learn, apply it. And that will then go on to my step number three. Step number three is you trying out things to make an income
yeah,
and do your best to start at the basics. The basics could be you go join a car wash and you work there. You look at other innovative ways in which you see people when they go shopping, etc. Whatever challenges you see them having, you try and provide a solution for that.
yeah,
Ideally, start with things that don't need capital, which
yeah,
means it's going to be labor. Don't be scared to go cut grass somewhere. Don't be scared to like. I think you'd be shocked if you really approach people with compassion and you let them know their situation and you tell them that, hey, my name is Mawanda. So upfront, I'm not looking for money from you,
yeah,
but I come from a challenging background at home. All I'm asking for is, can I come cut your grass, wash your sneakers, anything once a month for a fee that you think is fair? And
yeah,
I actually think that when you speak with compassion and you speak like that, you might be shocked the amount of people who are like, okay, I might not have a full-time job to give you, but the fact that you're not here asking for money and you're looking for something for free, I
yeah,
actually got out of my way, even though I wash my sneakers elsewhere, to give you at least two or three sneakers for you to come once a month to come wash
yeah,
for $100 or something. So
yeah,
I think also look at physical things like that to say, okay, I'm gonna get myself this product, a sunlight, I don't know, sunlight, etc. I'm either gonna go look at lawns, I'm gonna look at shoes, um, I'm going to look at windows. I'm going to look at. There's so many things that are maybe just available for you to start with.
yes,
Then when you get that money, use some of it to help out at home. but also use some of it to then start upskilling yourself to say, okay, I've done the shoes thing. Maybe now I can start looking at something that's project based. Okay, I see a need for this. I'm going to buy 10 of it. I'm
Yeah,
just going to find clients, or I'm going to speak to clients ahead of time to say,
exactly.
hey, I see that you have this problem. Would you trust me that if I bring this by next week, you'll buy it from me so that you have buy-in already?
Yeah.
And I know, yeah, it's a complex answer, but I hope that maybe
No,
those series of things can help to put you in the right mindset. Then also explore AI. If you have the phone, the cell phone, I think do so. If you have a computer, even better. But from a bare basics necessity, if you have a cell phone or someone in the house has it, after you've done your studies, get an extra hour and just say, hey, I've bought some data. Can I please put it on your phone? And then I just want to learn about this AI. I think
yeah.
the world is changing.
Yeah, I think that was such a good answer because the answers that I see online is a lot of stuff that's catered to the European or US market where it's like, oh, like there's drop shipping, there's things online, start a social media marketing agency. And the thing is like not everyone has access to the internet with South Africa. So you got to give practical answers amongst the audience. And I think that's why it's so important to have these conversations because we understand the demographic that we're speaking to where it's like, okay, cool. Where can we wash cars? Where can we wash shoes? Where can we like cut grass if you need to? And I think that's a good practical answer. And I think, as you said, like as you start doing that, grow the capital, and then find things to buy and sell. I think that's perfect. Um, yeah, and I think just to move on, because we could have this conversation like till the end, but I think just to go back to your story and from what I know and I've seen, is you moving from dance then to content on YouTube to going to real estate videos, and I've seen you have some really big views there as well, like 27,000 views on some Bali estate and stuff. Um, and I think the first question is how did you transition into real estate? And then secondly, uh, has did your network or that you've gained in the real estate space allow you to do certain things that you're doing now? Or yeah, let's start there.
Bro, yeah, I think thanks for that. I think you are absolutely right in the sense that a lot of the advice we see online, don't get me wrong, I don't take like of drop shipping, starting your
Yeah,
own
yeah,
agency,
yeah.
etc. But because I know what it's like to not even have the resources to
Yes.
even start there, I think it's good to teach people to start where you are, work your way up, and as you see opportunity and as you see fit, then go into those things. So yeah,
Yeah.
I'm really glad that you opened this platform, bro. And
Yeah.
I think there's a story in between from dance to that, and
Let's
maybe let me unpack it just a little
yeah,
bit.
let's go to that.
So, so for me, it went from dance to all right. Everybody started growing up, and I think everybody in the crew learned skills that then they then had to apply in their lives. So then that's where, as a crew, we're like, all right, guys, all the best. We'll still remain friends, but let everybody go and test out the skills that everybody's learned.
Fine,
So
yeah.
yeah, so yeah, 100%. So for me from there, I think also at home, it just things really went downhill. Had some crazy financial challenges. So it really put me in a corner. I was like, all right, I really need to make an income now. So from there, I went to promoting,
Mm.
like promoting in the mall, etc.,
Yeah,
just to
yeah, yeah,
make sure
yeah.
that I get an income.
I've also done
But that
that.
company was, yeah, that company was a bit shady. So I
Uh,
quickly moved on. I had to go stay at a friend's place at his couch while I had my mom and sisters get a place, and then from there, opportunity came up from someone we knew who needed a internet cafe in South Beach. We had an internet cafe, he needed people to run it. So my friend and I, we quickly hustled away. We went to view a place with no deposit, no money whatsoever. We're able to speak to the owners to say, hey, we're looking for a place. I know we two young guys, you might not be able to trust us, but I promise you, we'll take care of your place. We're
yeah.
hardworking, we're determined, and we'd really like to move in. For some reason, they took a liking to us
Cool.
and they accepted our offer. I know we at the time we just had enough money to pay for the deposits, but then we didn't have enough money to pay for rent.
Yeah.
So actually they needed to fix the place up, and that gave us a month in between to be able to be able to pay rent. So our rent at the time was 4,100 in Glenwood.
Okay.
So we found an internet cafe in South Beach that we worked at. The two of us ran it, and it ran 7 days a week.
Okay.
So and we get paid 100 rand a day.
Okay. Okay.
So we're supposed to pay rent, we're supposed to eat, yeah, and we're supposed to pay rent, we're supposed to eat, and we're supposed to make an income with that for 100 Rand a day. But we decided, okay, we'd work at the internet cafe. Now, if you know, internet cafe at the time, it was really about people come in, buy an hour, people would need CVs, we type the CVs.
Yeah.
And then if we needed to get things done, etc., then we'd exchange. But I didn't start out with fancy job. That
Yeah.
for me, I started basic. I ran an internet cafe. From doing the internet cafe, we started getting entrepreneurial. People would come in and say, hey, we need laptops. Then one of us would be like, yo, go to town, see who sells secondhand laptops. We buy it there, we add a markup, and then we sell the laptop to whoever
Yeah.
needed the laptop at the time. Someone else, hey, I need a cell phone. Then, hey, bro, let's make calls. Who's selling cell phones? Let's go look at the quality. All
Yeah.
right, we'll buy it for 700 bucks. We'll sell it for 1,200 Rand. And that's how we get extra money. And then the internet cafe also allowed us 30 Rand for lunch money a day. And we wouldn't have supper at home. So we'd work, get lunch at work, and
Yeah.
then we'd close up, go home. But you know, so from there, we did that for about a year, if not, yeah, almost 2 years. From there, I went on to Huawei. When Huawei just came into the country, everybody was calling it Hawaii. I
Yeah.
was a customer experience consultant, which is just a fancy word to say that I was a sales agent.
Yeah.
Selling 10 phones a month in Gateway was the hardest thing because Chinese at the time were just known for phone call.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, I worked my way up from there until for about 3 years in sales, until every single month I was at least top three in sales in South Africa. And then from there, I went on to financial planning for another 3.5 years. Somebody saw me, they're like, hey, I think you'd be a good fit for this. And then, that's when I grew again. I'm like, okay, I need to learn more. And then I went into financial planning. And I think that was beautiful because it just provided value to people. I think there's just something beautiful about speaking to people about their finances, helping them plan that out and look into the future. So
Yeah.
while I was doing all of that in between, when I was working for Huawei, I would work 6 days a week, off on Monday. That's when I create content.
Okay.
That's when, that's when if you go on my Facebook, um, I had a singing show, which is actually funny. You would laugh. So that's when I always kept that creating content thing alive, where it's like, listen, I don't want to stop doing that, so I still take on the art shoots. I create my own digital series.
Yeah.
I was very big into just creating some form of show going on,
Yeah.
and then yeah, then post financial planning, I decided to resign there because I wanted to start my own agency, but I wanted to start my own agency. As I resigned, COVID kicked in.
Oh, crazy.
It was the toughest time financially, but that's when I actually started doing real estate videos.
Uh,
I absolutely loved it, and that continued with the whole just digital series
yeah.
thing. And yeah, I think real estate videos. I think yeah, there's just something beautiful about it because you build a network speaking to agents. You also get to understand different dynamics depending on where you are. I learned a lot about myself. I
Yeah.
wanted to learn how to speak better, and real estate really helped with that, especially with properties at that price. And yeah, I still use those skills till today. But yeah, a little bit of a tangent, but that's how I ended up getting to the real estate videos,
Oh,
everything in between.
I think that storyline is perfect. I think to tell the story like it's not just sunshine and rainbows where you'll go from oh dancing and doing stuff in school and then oh you're already selling real estate 3 million, 30 million. No, it's the journey, it's the grind, and that's the realness I think of you going through. I think that internet cafe, and I think it was favor of the Lord, right, for you to actually get that opportunity. Because like you said, it's two young guys coming in and like let's run your internet shop, and don't know you from a bar soap. Uh, so yeah, no, I really appreciate that story because I didn't even know that about you like going doing that hustling proper hustle and
So like yeah, yeah, proper. I'm talking about I think that's there's seasons for that, man. I think
yes,
I think I really do believe that the blessing of the Lord, it really doesn't add sorrow, but faith without works is dead. So
yes.
I think we're not meant to toil, but we are meant to put in some work because work is a force and it's effort if you look at it according to physics. So um, yeah, I think let's not get what's the word so spiritually minded that we earthly no good.
I mean, if a man is not
You
working,
know,
like, I mean, that's scripture, you know?
yeah, 100%. Yeah. So I think we had to take whatever situation we're in. God is always the first man in the fire.
Yes.
But we have to apply our faith, and we have to apply wisdom, and we have to learn from the systems that God has put into place for us to move from one level to the next,
Yeah.
before I end up just saying things, but I'm not doing, then faith has not been applied.
Yes. 100%. Sure. I think along the line of that journey, like of you hustling and that type of stuff, what, knowing the information that you know now, what would you have done differently?
What would I have done differently? I wouldn't have stopped
And the thing
creating
is,
content
and the
as well.
thing, and again, you don't have, and for me, I mean, for example, with me, right? Like I always say that I wouldn't do things differently for most of my decisions. Uh, because I'm like I've learned so much in those mistakes if I made it. But there's certain things I'm like if I did, I could have done this, and I think could have changed its trajectory. But again, the lesson would have been that. So again, like I think with you, there's certain things you wouldn't change because you're like I learned so much of lessons in this. But yeah, what do you think you could have?
Yeah, there's a lot that I wouldn't change. I do agree. I don't
Yeah,
regret my life, and I don't regret the challenges I've been through and everything that has taken me to be here. But I think a few things is one, 100%, I wouldn't have stopped creating content.
yeah,
I wouldn't have stopped creating content. And um, what else? Yeah, I think for some reason that's the main thing, because
yeah,
the reason why I said that is that, well, okay, wait. One, I wouldn't have stopped creating content. Two, I wouldn't have procrastinated so much to do certain decisions because of expecting things to be right, the atmosphere to be good, and
yeah,
angels to sing before I move forward and making certain decisions. I think I would have made a lot of jumps and failed quickly, so that you fail to learn and you progress
yeah,
as you try out things. So I think those two things. The content part is just that because I don't have much regrets. It's good to document your journey, and you realize that so many people out there that are like you, that are in the same position as you. You think you're unique,
yeah,
but we are unique in a lot of ways. But the challenges that we face are not always unique. So I think one, I would have continued, especially given the world is going now. Having a personal brand or creating content is really the leverage you need for
exactly.
people to actually trust. So I would have continued that, and I would have procrastinated less. Took big jumps quicker,
Yeah,
and just done things. Obviously, pray about things. Understand the calculated risk and the direction that I'm trying to achieve for.
yeah,
But instead of waiting a lot and doubting and having imposter syndrome, and yeah, I would have maybe those two.
yeah. No, I fully relate with the content. Because I started content when maybe 1920, and then I kind of took like a 2 year break, like the two previous, like last year and the year before. And I think the first year was valid because I just put most of my time and effort into like spending time with God, His community, like everything was really like focused on that, and then obviously work and doing that different stuff. And I have no regrets among that. But then last year, I'm like, I should have pushed like more effort into it because I have a passion for it, and God uses so much in my life to when it comes to like meeting people like you or the community that I had with urban content creators and having all that stuff. I think God used it to bless me, and that's something that I'm good at. And likewise with you. And I think um, if there's something that someone could do is start creating content. Um, and I think that's where it comes back to you doing a podcast now on like teaching people how to start doing content, how to do content, and like just do it. I think I've watched a recent video where he's like, just start making content, pick up your phone, start recording. Um, yeah, tell us a little bit about the podcast. Of like you said, like creating content, just doing it. Um, and what specifically are
That's
you
good.
trying
Yeah.
to do? Yeah, among that.
Yeah. So the podcast. So the first podcast I started, it stopped at 3 episodes. You know the story. It was called Life with Mawanda, and the problem is I wanted to speak about everything.
Yeah,
I don't think there's anything wrong with it, but I don't think that it's going to work for everyone because it certainly didn't work for me.
Yeah.
I love conversations. I love meeting people from different walks of life. I just like picking the brain, and I
Yes.
like learning. But I think that's exactly why it stopped because I knew that there's a certain impact that I want to create, and maybe that wasn't the tool for it.
Yeah.
So this podcast is called the Creator Concept Podcast. It's really based on Genesis 1:28. Be fruitful, multiply, replenish, subdue, and have dominion. I
Yeah.
think that's the success formula that all of us, have. I really do believe that as part of our calling, all of us came here with gifts, and I
Mhm.
really believe that the gift that I have, you might not have, vice versa,
Yeah.
and that's our special source that we just have,
Yeah.
in life. And I really do believe that by the time we're done here, you're supposed to leave the world empty. Also inspired by Dr. Miles Monroe that the richest place in the world is a cemetery full of
Yeah.
songs unsung, books not written,
Yeah.
visions that haven't come to fruition. So I think the creative concept is really just about speaking about communication, entrepreneurship, speaking about content creation, building a personal brand,
Yeah.
bringing those things together and just speaking about human potential and hopefully getting an opportunity for us to learn from each other, but also get practical frameworks that you can apply straight after a podcast. And
Yeah.
hopefully things that can push you in the direction of your area of genius and push you in the direction of the things that you are supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
And we just discuss frameworks so that whoever's on, you can say, okay, I took a page from that. I can apply that. I might not be able to create vlogs, but hey, I can create podcasts, and I spoke about how you create podcasts.
Exactly.
And yeah, then if you speak about Genesis 1:28, fruitfulness is that obviously you just find something you're good at. Multiplying it is that you work on version one, version two, version three, and you make it better.
Yeah.
To replenish is that you fill it up. You take it to different people. For me, podcasting, I'm going to take it to different platform. I'm going to take it to as many people as possible.
Yeah.
Um, you know, um, then you have to, replenish it. And subdue it. Subdue just means bring it under your control. So when people think of podcasting, you want to be mentioned there. When people think about education and teaching South Africa, Jared is going to be mentioned there. And I believe that's how you get to the last one, which is dominion. And
Yes.
dominion, yeah, means that you have rulership, you have influence, and we can make the right calls when we're there for the different spheres that we're in. So when it comes to education, at least I know that if you're up there, you're gonna speak to
Mm.
the South African child that has dreams and wants to move forward. And same thing in the arts. I know that if someone else is there and they have dominion, we can use that in a positive light. But that's what the podcast is: create a concept.
Yeah. That's dope. And the thing is like that you've picked up a talent, probably a talent, but a skill, a talent, and you've done that, and you've learned from, like we've spoken about, from early days in high school, creating content where it was like a camera back then, now using your phone, and then back to a professional camera where you run a production house, um, which is very successful. I've seen, and I think I was we were chatting, I think in Florida Road, where you were like starting up, doing content for people, and now you're doing it for big companies, big corporates, influencers as well, and quality content. And I think like you've taken that skill and now you're using it to teach. And I think it's a form of discipleship with the podcast, if because people that would follow you, they're kind of learning from everything that you've done. And it's like I think uh, content or YouTube in a sense, uh, people follow you to learn. It's a form of discipleship. And I feel like that's what it is amongst the content space people that will follow the creator concept, right? They learning and they being discipled by you. And I think it's really cool that you've chosen to do that. I want to go into uh, you being married, having a kid, building a family. And I think it's a very beautiful thing that you can do is one of the best things you could do is obviously get married, build a family, have kids. I think there's a lot of purpose in that, and you're getting to again then disciple the kid into being someone that you want them to be. And I think how's the process been going from an entrepreneur, solely entrepreneur, to then married. And I think that's a blessing, and we've spoken about this. So there's a blessing in the covenant, and then going and having a kid. I think there's more uh, required in every aspect of your life. I think when it comes to like your time, your attention, your finances. How has that been for you?
Yeah, what an open-ended question. What's it like being married? When from single to married and running a business. I'm
Yeah.
trying to. I think the whole process has made me realize how much I used to complain about time because, yeah, when you're a bachelor, you go, then you bring a wife on board, then
Yes.
you're like, okay, I need to balance things. Then you bring a child on board, and then yeah, you need to balance things even more. And I think for my wife and I, she runs her own business, I run my own
Yes.
business. We have a family, we have a child. So I think that's been very interesting in seeing just efficiency and us figuring out the process together, obviously, that which is most important. And
Mm.
just seeing that how much I used to complain about time, whereas I was supposed to upskill myself
Yes.
and find more efficient ways to do things so that I can pour into the most important cups. I
Yeah.
think for me, having a family is an answer prayer. I think what my wife and I have been speaking about for the past 3 months is that the life that we are living now is an answer prayer from God.
Yes.
And it really shifted our perspective from always just looking forward and trusting God for more, but
Yeah.
actually pausing and thanking God that the life that we live now,
For
it's
sure.
not where we want to be, but it's very far from where we come from. So
Yes.
we are really living our answered prayer. And this is going to sound weird, but it really put us in a place where, if for us, we know that God has more in store for us, but if this is it, if God says the life that you love now is the life that I have planned and prepared for you,
Yeah.
man, we are so grateful.
Yeah.
We are so grateful. It's a life our parents only could dream of living.
Yeah.
And we're able to do what we want when we want and how we want. We are so grateful. We know that God has in store more in store for us, but we want to start from a place of gratitude first
Mm.
and thanking God that we're living an answered prayer,
Yeah.
and then from there use that as the foundation, as the platform to trust God for more. So I think that's just been the biggest realization of it, that for us that's the most important thing, having a family, and a good man leaves an inheritance for his children's
Mm.
children. So one of the biggest things for us is that we understand that that inheritance is definitely a financial thing, but more than a
Yeah.
financial thing, if you look at the studies, that a lot of the families who were the wealthiest after 4 generations
Yeah.
lose their wealth. So it hit us that our inheritance is them understanding who they are, mostly who they are in God, their purpose, their identity,
Mm.
respect, honor,
Yeah.
um, actual principles that
Yeah.
are going to help them over and above the financial part. So I think, yeah, that's just been the biggest lesson for us, that that's the biggest inheritance. We want to leave an inheritance of faith for our kids. And
Yeah.
yes, we do want to do our best financially so that they don't have to start where we started, just like our parents did their best,
Mm.
that we don't have to start. They didn't even start from the ground up. They started from below the ground. They're looking at the ground up,
Yeah.
and at least they took it to the shoulders and we get to move that forward. So
Mm.
for me, that's the most important part of my life.
Yeah.
Just building a family, having a family, and thanking God that we have our daily bread.
Yeah.
And yeah, this is where we start. Everything is from that and for that. And I don't want to lose sight of that.
Yeah.
Really living answer prayer.
For
I
sure.
don't even know if you. Yeah, I probably just spoke about something else. You asked a different question.
So it's valid, I think. Um, just yeah, I'm just relating so much to your thing of like your wife and you stopping and saying like, listen, we're actually living answered prayer because I'm currently in that space where I'm like, my desire was to move to Cape Town. My desire was to start like move out my parents' place. Done that in Durban. Um, moved to Cape Town. Done that. Have the opportunities that I have now. Been in the space that I've been in, and then I'm like, why are you still like living in like you're dissatisfied? And there's a level, there's a fine line between like, hey, like I need to be ambitious and then also a level of contentment. And the thing is like it's so difficult to
That's
find
true.
that level of like you got to be content, but then I still have to have ambition for more and to reach. And yeah, I totally relate with what you guys are going through. But again, it's
That's
like,
good. Yo, that's so good, bro.
but God has given us everything we need, and it's like He takes care of the birds of the air, the lilies of the field. He clothes them. Like how much more would He do for us?
Yeah,
And for I think we can chat about is that like where's the point where of like is the ambition too much where it's like it's drawing you away from God? And I think that's the fine line where I have to stop myself and be like, you're actually working more than you're spending time with God. Um, and that's not what we meant to do. God does understand that you have work. God understands it, but like there's times where you're like, you don't need to work at that but a specific time. Like there is like a balance. Um, yeah. So I, how would you find the
that's
balance
good.
if you did find the balance? And if you're finding the balance, I think yeah,
Bro, I think that's yeah. Wow, what's you and these hard questions today? But we're having a conversation. I love it, bro.
yeah,
I think I watched something that I'm still trying to figure out, and the
yeah,
video was speaking about God is not against money, and
yeah,
not God is not against wealth.
yes,
But not everyone is supposed to have in the kingdom. Not everybody's supposed to have
exactly,
the money and the wealth.
exactly.
It's really based on your character development.
Yeah.
Um, and I think that hit me.
Mm.
That I think most of us really pray for these things. Matthew 6:33, seek first the kingdom of God,
Yeah,
and these things shall be added unto you. And I think that's really where the balance is. The balance is that in Deuteronomy 8:18, it says, remember the Lord thy God, for it is he who gives you the power to get
mm,
wealth, that you may establish his covenant. I
yes,
think as you get the things, your character, God will honor it, but sometimes our character moves away from establishing the covenant and
yeah,
it moves to only our fleshly desires, and we don't become a distribution center for God. They always say, show me your bank account and I'll show you where your heart is.
yo,
So if God is giving us this wealth, then we have to understand what is our kingdom initiative and our assignment. Is it to build schools, obviously contribute to where you are locally in the
yeah,
local church. But what initiatives are you Are you creating jobs?
yeah,
Are you ending poverty? Are you fighting pure poverty? As some of my friends are doing
yeah,
that, etc. So I think that's where the fine line is. It's Matthew 6:33, Deuteronomy 8:18. Remember the Lord thy God.
mm,
And if you look at the whole chapter, it speaks about how Moses is advising them, and it says,
mm,
when these things start happening, you'd be tempted to say, "I did this. It
yeah,
was my might. It was my wisdom." So I think that's the accountability scale. As soon as you start moving from I and you stop establishing the covenant and building the kingdom, that's where the balance is off. That's when you know that okay, my wife should call me out, I should call her out, and as a family, we should sit down and always come back to the center to
that's
say, if we trust in God for more, we don't deserve it if it's not to build the kingdom
yeah,
because of the system that we live in. For other people who live through a different system, then that's different. But for us, that's the scale. It always has to be for distribution, and it always has to be. We know our family will always be blessed because of that, but
mm,
it always has to be about fulfilling the covenant.
covenant. That's so good. And I think the practical thing that you've mentioned, the thing of like you and your wife keep each other accountable, and I think that probably helps you guys so much because she could probably see, or you could probably see, hey, we're focusing too much time here on work. Like I think we need to come back to Christ, and I think it's so powerful having that relationship and choosing your partner wisely as well. Because if you don't choose your partner wisely,
Yeah,
is um, not driven by Christ, it could be detrimental. So well done on your partner choice. And
thanks, bro. I studied a lot. I went through a couple of exams.
you know what I mean,
I'm joking, man. I'm joking.
yeah, no, I'm kidding.
Thank you, thank you.
Yeah, I think I just want to come back to we don't really touch on your skill, like we mentioned earlier, of content creation, that type of stuff. And I think you starting Creative Replay, what was the process like? Okay, because there is um, a financial need how should I say, like you need money to start a production. That you need a camera, you need lighting, you need mics and that type of stuff. What was your process on starting Creative Replay? And then what also helped you grow your clientele? Because I think that's a lot of people struggle with, is finding the clientele. They could have the skill, but they don't have the problem finding clientele. So um, what was it like starting Creative Replay, and then how was it finding clients?
All right, I love this topic, bro. I'll give you some game.
Yes, yes.
But starting Creative Replay, I think was so interesting. Took a loan, bought a camera. My wife and I took a step of faith. Um, Saved up money before I left financial planning. So that was the idea. Okay, I'm buying
Yeah.
a camera. I'm going back into content creation. I was doing it part time whenever I had my off days while I was doing financial planning,
Yes,
etc. But I was like, I really love it, and if it means that I buy the camera, grow my YouTube channel while
yes,
I'm doing work for clients, that's how we're gonna do it. So saved up money. Yeah, had about 4 to 5 months worth of salary saved to say now I'm taking a step of faith. Lockdown hits, all that money gone. We have the camera, we in debt, just straight up. We can't service the debt, etc. So I just want to really make that known that it's not always going to be a straight line journey, and it's
uh,
not always. But you need to be convicted enough in
yeah,
what you want to do that you want to honor it, and and you're going to push it through.
for sure.
So yeah, so as that was happening, even to get the camera, the guys at DT Film, they saw the content I was creating. They gave me a discount code,
Wow.
and yeah, I got an A6400.
Yes.
And then I started speaking about the camera. If you look at the end of the real estate videos, I put their logo just to let people know if
Uh,
they want to start the creative journey, get your camera from there, etc. So also leveraging relationships with
yeah,
regards to that. Then from there, I was like, okay, I'm back in. I don't think I want to go the music video route. I'm liking the content creator space,
yes.
and maybe I see an opportunity there. A lot of people are still growing in that. There wasn't that many. I think in 2020 there wasn't that many videographers. I would say there was, but not that many.
It
So
also wasn't
I was
well
like, all
known.
right, to get my foot, yeah.
Mm.
So I said I'd go that route, and I'm going that route because I obviously want to work with the brands, even if it's through the content creators, so that I can build my portfolio and then be able to move up from there. So that's where I did a few spec shoots. Firstly, that one getting paid for them, want to build my portfolio, want to sharpen my skill.
Yeah.
So there is a time and a period for that. Don't get me wrong, don't get exploited doing it,
Yes.
but there is a season to do that. So that's what I did. And from there, I approached a few creators. Hey, I can do your first video for free, but if ever you get some more paid work, I'd love to work with you. And I just built relationship with regards to that, did my best to build trust. And even though we shoot videos, I, do my best to build relationship, see
Yeah.
how I can make their creative journey better.
Yeah.
So I did that. And then, yeah, from there, I just reached out to relationships. And I think people, like I'm saying, content is important because when people see what you are doing, they might hit you up and say, hey, here's an opportunity. Are you keen to do that? And
Yeah.
that's how I find myself in spaces, just by working with content creators, etc.
Yeah.
I soon realized the people would say the market is getting saturated and everybody's creating content. Everybody wants to become a videographer. And then I think that's when I really started to dig deep to say, all right, I've been doing this for some time and I need to find a different angle as to how I can do this.
Yeah.
And I really had to do a lot of research because I needed to figure out where do I think this market is going.
Yes.
Long form content, I always knew will be something I'm interested in. So whether it's YouTube,
Yes.
podcasting, etc., I always knew I want to be doing that for my clients and for myself, more
Yeah.
especially for the content I want to create. And I think for me, just as a piece of advice, I realized that the moment something looks saturated, that's such a big opportunity
Mm.
to really start niching down. It
Yeah.
only looks saturated at a distance.
Mm.
But the more you niche down and the more you find the person you can best help,
Yeah.
the easier it gets. So I started looking, okay, given all my skills and all the experience I've had, who can I help best? So it's not about I want to help everyone now. It's like
Yeah.
who, if I meet this person, I'll be able to help them best. And I realize me, I can help creators, I can help coaches, entrepreneurs, I can help professionals, people, speakers, etc. I can help those people best. Why?
Yeah.
I have experience in sales, I have experience in marketing, I have experience in creating content.
Yes.
And because I understand where the market is going as far as personal branding, being an authority online, and building trust, I know that I can advise this person the best. That's
Mm,
how eventually I started niching down to that. To That's the person I'm looking for, and for brands, those are the brands I'm looking for.
for sure.
Brands that are looking, yes, for good quality content. I think quality is what gets you in the door now.
Yeah.
Like before, quality used to be something you sell on. I don't think you can sell on quality alone.
Yeah.
But if I can find those brands that want to grow their authority online, that's the person I know that I can best help. But it was very hard for me to get to that because I had to understand myself more.
For sure.
And then after understanding myself more, also I had to understand the business side of things as to
Yeah.
where is their market. So it almost, yeah, it relates.
Yeah. There's a lot of sauce there. It's a lot of sauce there, guys, to like take it. There's so much that you can take from that of like how you've done it. So firstly, find a way to get the equipment. It may not be alone for everyone, but work for you. Secondly, put yourself out there, do collaborative work with the people that you think you could build a relationship with. I think that's something that you said. Uh, and then get good at your content, get good at what you do. Like you said, you've spent time seeing what works, what's good, and you've mastered your skill in content creation. So, like you said, if your quality is good, that in itself will help you leverage, but then be good at relationally. Like I think if you don't have good communication skills, it'd be very difficult. Um, so you've done very well. You're excellent in that of growing your network. I think um, your quality speaks for itself. Yeah, man. Well done on that. Just and I just feel like you'll continue to grow. Your quality is improving every single day. You're finding new ways and new skills. And yeah, I see creative replay going for. Where do you see creative replay in the next 5 years?
Mhm. Creative replay. One, I see replay in the next 5 years, speaking with, working with authorities in different industries
Yeah.
that want to make a difference, want to add value, want to educate, and want to grow their personal brand. Yeah, I think, yeah, we're really interested in working with thought leaders and people who are
Yeah.
really interested in creating content that's going to create an impact, especially where we are in South Africa. Two, we see ourselves creating fun campaigns and fun content,
Yeah.
for clients the best way we can, working with the best storytellers, videographers, script writers, etc. We've focused on the digital part for the most part, and then we obviously want to continue to grow our network, which is where I'd say our profits really pour into.
Yeah.
Growing, having our own studios, growing our network with different shows under it, which also gives us an opportunity to employ more people, to
Yes.
share the spotlight into the different spaces that we have in South Africa, whether it's sports, whether it's media, whether it's television. There's so many people who are doing great things, and I think that's what I'm really passionate about, which is creating a network that shows a spotlight in those, makes it entertaining for people to watch at home, but at least you walk away with, huh, I didn't know there was that. Okay, I'd be
Yeah.
keen to do that. And I really want to employ people who have these qualifications but are not able to make money out of it. Give
Yeah.
them a space that's innovative and opportunity for them to grow in the business, grow in their wisdom, but have a fun place, man, a fun place to work and create. I
Yeah.
love creating. That's what I'm passionate about.
Yeah. No, I definitely see that. I think when it comes to like I'm in the investing space, right? And when it comes to investing, a lot of people when it comes to investing in stocks or when it comes to investing in anything, they look at the CEO, they look at the person that's running the space. For example, like uh Elon Musk, like there's so much that's going wrong with Tesla, but people back it because they're like, this guy's just a killer. He just knows what he wants and he's working there 24/7. And I think it's the same with you, is that you know what you want, you know what your end goal is, and you're working towards it. Um, I think um,
Thanks, man.
before we end, what's your dream client? I say shoot your client shot. who's your dream client? And I think we can look back in the next podcast, the next 5 years, be like, yeah, Mawanda actually achieved that. So who's your dream client?
Who's my dream client? Whoa. This is gonna sound cliche, bro. I'm in a space now, maybe because I've got to work with some brands. I don't
Yeah.
have a dream client, but I have a dream avatar.
Right.
And like I'm saying, yeah, which I just onboarded a cardiologist who really wants to educate people about health, their heart, etc. For me, that's an avatar that's my dream client. It's a person who has over 20 years worth of experience in what they do.
Right.
They've learned a lot of skills in that, but they want to let the normal person know who doesn't know the jargon and the complicated things about the industry know how can they better take care of themselves.
Yeah.
And there's so many of them, you know. So for me, my dream client is that people who have the years of experience, nobody knows about them, doing what they do behind the scenes,
Yeah.
but just what they can share and educate others about, and even other people who want to be mentored by them and grow in the field. I think for me, that's my dream client because then
Yeah.
I get to just share the spotlight on the work that they're already doing. To
Yeah.
be honest, that's what we do. Yes, we bring good quality, we make sure it looks amazing, and we want to uphold the great work that they're already doing. We just want to take the light and say, hey, here's somebody who's doing something great,
Yeah.
and we think that this can add value in your life. And yeah, that's honestly my dream client.
Yeah, no, for sure. Uh, yeah, guys, if you need someone to create amazing content for your business, make sure you reach out to Mawanda. Yeah, but thank you, Mawanda, for coming on. Thanks for being my first guest. Really appreciate it. Guys, make sure you follow him. Check out his podcast. Um, Create a Concept, right? Create a Concept by Mawanda.
Yeah.
Check that out on YouTube. He's growing. He's posting consistently, as most people don't, but he's teaching you how to be consistent. So yeah, give him a follow, give him a subscribe, and yeah, anything you want to add to the
Bro, I want to give a huge shout out to you, bro. Thank you so much. I think it's such an honor to be on your first episode. I think,
yeah,
thank you for doing what you're doing. I think I'm really passionate about Africa
yeah,
and particularly about South Africa, which is our home.
yeah,
And thank you for making the means to just open the curtain and making sure that people can listen in our conversations, hopefully learn something that can change their immediate situation and the immediate challenges that
sure.
they have. So I just hope that you able to grow this, continue pushing, and you don't get discouraged. It's a
Yeah,
journey, like we're saying, and rather just look at it as that. And I really hope that you get the right people in,
yeah,
and we get you the whoever's listening. We need to get this man the best cameras, the best podcast
yeah,
mics, the best studio. He's doing something great, and I know that he'll be able to give you the return in investment and
yeah.
whatever it is you're doing. So thank you so much, bro. Let's make it happen. And I'm rooting for you. You know, if you need anything, yeah, I'm there to be a part of it. But I
Yeah.
want others to know that you are definitely the man to back. You're definitely the man to cheer on,
Appreciate
and to just keep you going, bro.
appreciate it, brother. But yeah, guys, make sure you subscribe to Mawanda, follow him on all platforms. He'll be linked in the description. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you like, you subscribe, do the most. Yeah, cheers.